Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Top Tier Talk. Elliot, we're going to start with you. The Arsenal double game week, lost in the Champions League, but don't worry, you put in the group chat and it's pinned that you're not going to lose the Emirates, but you did beat Newcastle 4-1, so take it away with your Champions League defeat.
Yes, 1-0 against Porto. Um, it seems to be, I don't know what happened that game, if I'm honest. We went to Porto and we kind of just dropped off a bit and decided, oh, we can't win. We're not good enough. Um, I'm just thinking of where to start really, because everyone had a shocker really. I think Rice had a half decent game. Odegaard had a half decent game, but that was it. All of our attack weren't available. They weren't like Saka wasn't performing. Martinelli was terrible. Trossard didn't really do anything. The defense was pretty kind of shaky here and there. And then they got a nice goal toward the end when we couldn't even secure a draw. Because if I'm honest, we deserved that draw. Just watching that game, it was so boring. It was so kind of robotic. It was not the proper Arsenal kind of way of football. If I obviously I'm going to get onto the Newcastle game. That's what I wanted to see against Porto, but obviously we couldn't provide. Um, Obviously negativity aside, as you say, Dan, my message is pinned. But when we go back to the Emirates of Porto, I reckon we'll stomp them like 3-4-0. I think that, as I say, the energy of the Emirates is unmatched. The boys will be up for it. I hope. A Champions League knockout, we have to win. Do you know what I mean? There's no, but I swear to God, I just want to touch on this as well. Porto players are made of fucking paper mache. These men are going down like it's no tomorrow. Literally any touch of like it'll be literally like that, and they'll go down and they'll get a foul for it because the ref for some reason was quick to blow fouls. He was quick to give Declan Rice a yellow card as well. Literally, the first minute into the game, Declan Rice made a challenge. Okay, it's a foul, but he's so quick to draw out that yellow card from his pocket. It weren't a yellow card. And then that puts him on the back foot for like the whole entire game because he gave an early and stupid yellow card. That ref wasn't really good. He get blown, as I say, blown for everything. Um, but yeah, so obviously going into the next game when we play Porto at the Emirates, I think it's going to be one of them ones where Porto are going to put 10 men behind the ball and then hope they'll try and like to see if they can get a lucky kind of counter attack against us because that's what most teams try and do when we're already behind. Um,
I
Now,
think,
so
I think,
hopefully we'll.
before you go on, how do you think the players of Arsenal will cope with the pressure of the second leg of the Champions League? Because obviously,
Well, that's
pressure
that's
in
what I
the
was about.
Champions
That's what I was
League
about
now,
to. I was about to get onto
you
that.
guys don't cope well with. So, what is the pressure going to
Exactly.
do to them?
Yeah, I said this to you guys, didn't I? I said whenever there's a pressurized kind of game, even like last season, for example, when we were top of the league by like 5 or 6 points, and then we capitulated because the pressure's on us to kind of hold that position and do well. Um, the same happened again against Porto. It's a big game. We're round 16 and we need to win, and we capitulated. We just simply went, here you go, Porto, have a quick win against us. And you're right. Like if we go into that game at the Emirates with the same mentality of like, oh crap, if we don't win, we're out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Then the same's going to happen again. It might even be a nil-niller, and then they'll go through still. Like it's,
I
but
think your
so
saving grace will be there's no own goals, no away goals, sorry,
no
as
away
well.
goals. Yeah, but yeah. Look, as I
The
say,
Pepe,
like
by the way. Pepe,
sorry,
man, 40 years old Pepe holding
Pepe.
that.
Yeah, he's rock solid. Yeah, I
I think
think
one
the
of the
whole
most
team.
underrated defenders of our
That geezer on the
generation.
right, I think he's their number 10. I think as well. He's a short guy. He's really tricky on the ball.
Otavio? No.
No, I forget his name. No, the
Gallagher.
other one. There was a short one that begins with C, I think. He was their number
Oh,
10
the
and he was
manager's
fantastic.
son. Who's the son? Who's the manager?
I'm not too
His
sure,
son.
but he was quite good on the ball. He was causing a lot of damage towards us. Like he was very hard to kind of get off the ball. As you say, Galileo, whatever his name is, scored a blinder of a goal. The whole team was just up for it. Everyone was completely on for it against us, and we just didn't do well. But nevertheless, good news. 4-1 against Newcastle. Oh gosh,
Wait,
sorry.
wait, wait. Yeah, can't just let. To be fair, I actually want to like. I'm not going to say something negative. We've banned you aside, but I was speaking to some Arsenal fans. So basically, this whole low block thing that you weren't able to really get through. There is a team in the Champions League that did try that against you in the Emirates, and this is a team that beat you at home. I think you'll comfortably go through. Lon did it. I know the difference between Lon and um, Porto is that they have Pepe. Pepe at the heart of a low block is scary, but
Mhm.
I think you can't do that at the Emirates. I'm afraid Arsenal are a bit further along their process and how much Arteta has kind of been there. He'll find a way, and I
Yeah.
think you could potentially destroy Porto. I think one goal isn't enough. It's a great result for Porto, don't get me
Oh
wrong,
yeah,
but
100%.
especially because it was heading for a nil-nil, and it makes it funny for us, all of us. But I think you'll
Yeah.
absolutely obliterate them at home.
I that's what I said. I agree. Unfortunately, like they can live it up at the moment, but I think like the fans, like the atmosphere, North London
The
forever
mood is
when we
good.
first walk out. Yeah, everything's good. Which, do you know what I mean? I think we'll do well.
The old Arsenal would lose to Newcastle easily, comfortably. Arsenal would lose on the weekend, and you didn't let
Yeah.
it affect you. So
Yeah.
you can go on to that game as well now. If you want. But,
Yeah. So yeah, 4-1 Newcastle. I'm so glad that we beat those Gibbs 4-1. Unbelievable game. Spot on for what we experienced at St James's Park when they decided to throw a scrappy little game against us and try and what I think it was like, what was it, a 1-0 game against us when Gordon scored? I
Was
think
it the
was.
handball or the shove or something? Was it that?
No.
penalty-
So that was a stupid game back in
That
the
last
day where
year?
basically that was the one that came out of it was out of play and then came back in play, but they said it weren't out of play. It was loads of basically wrong things. But onto the positivity of us beating them 4-1, it was absolutely godsend. Loved it. Everyone was spot on. I think Havertz played fantastic. Saka again. It's just that we could bring him onto your stat, Chavez, where he's consistently scoring in every game. He scored in 5 now, so let's hope that continues in the Prem. Yeah,
in a row.
exactly. In a row, 5 in a
Oh
row.
wow! So does he know that he's 7 away from breaking
7 away from
Vardy's
Vardy.
record?
And also, I'm going to say he's the leading scorer because obviously Hoyland missed last game, so he's injured now. So obviously he's over.
And I think with that, Saka scored, so I think he'll end up winning the. It was between Saka and Hoyland, the Player of the Month. Very tight. I think Saka will win it now.
But yeah, so literally everyone was on point. Ben White on point, Saliba and Gabriel. I just want to put a shout out to Gabriel. He's the most underrated centre back because obviously Saliba's young and obviously a prospect of being unbelievable. He is unbelievable at the moment, but Gabriel is another level of a centre back. People don't really see it, but if you actually watch the game, Arsenal, the full 90 minutes, he is a rock at the back. He doesn't let anything slide, and he is unbelievable. I think we paid 28 mil for him, and that is the biggest bargain for a centre back I think we've got. Kivior at left back's doing a fantastic job as well. I just want to give him a shout out. He's been fantastic for us. And yeah, I think it just goes to show that I think Martinelli needs to step up a little bit at the moment. Obviously, as I say, I think everyone still played a good game. He played a half decent game, but I think it basically just shows maybe next game I think we play Sheffield United away. I think maybe hopefully they can bring up a little bit of his confidence and get a goal and assist there. And Odegaard had a fantastic game as well. I think he was an absolute engine against Newcastle. I think he covered most of the ground for us. He was awesome. And Jorginho, by the way, man of the match. That boy.
He's fitting in now.
Yeah, he is doing well for us, and he is absolutely spectacular. And we love to see Smith Rowe coming back to play as well. Nearly got his goal. I was so happy when he nearly scored, but it wasn't to be. So hopefully he can get a start maybe against Sheffield United. We'll see though. But yeah, as I say, no negatives about that Newcastle game. It was just unfortunate that we conceded toward the end. But 4-1, we're absolutely going unbelievable for goal difference, aren't we? Well, I think we're like 39 now. But yeah.
Yeah, you're the highest. You're higher than Man City.
That's what I'm saying. We're destroying it at the moment. It's like all of a sudden I kind of want it to continue like this until like the last like 3 or 4 games. Like we stay third or second, because then, as you said Amir earlier about the pressure, like if we're third or second, then obviously we don't have the pressure as much because obviously we're not top. We don't have to try and keep going.
We'll see.
Well, I was going to say, any other questions, or should we move on to Manchester United 1, Fulham 2? Alex Iwobi, 97th minute. But I suppose before the goal, and obviously in the game as well, before the goal happened, Maguire, red card or not? Another refereeing debate.
No.
No.
I'll tell you what, it was too low, and it was definitely yellow, and you could even check it on VAR, but it was slightly too low. Of course, if it was like a different player, Casemiro would have 100% been off. But I think they look at the personality. Maguire's a nice guy, good fella.
Casemiro, GBH charge.
Yeah, they just looked at that and were like, "Cool, we're not going to give it." Yeah, the game was poor. I mean, it's been coming. I know I'm gonna admit in the last 5 games, as much as what us Man United fans do is we preserve our mental health. So we'll win games. We know what's happening. A car crash is happening in front of us, but we look at some fun stat. We look at some fun player. Manu, great job. Hoyland, great goal scoring run, and we avoid that actual problem, which is we don't play good football. I mean, it's so poor, man. It's genuinely, and it's so funny, and it's a shame because you look at teams, any other team, I watch any other Premier League team, they're so well drilled. And I'm sat there watching Everton play football. I'm like fascinated, like wow, like they just did one attack and then they did it again, and they were taught that. And you cannot say that about us. And you know how that's terrible. It's sad. And for the first time actually this week, I've had to think. I'm a Man United fan, and I'm not an Eric Ten Hag fan, so I can't just keep defending him. And it's indefensible. As much as you don't have your first team players, you still can play to a certain level. and I can't sit here and tell you what that is.
Ten Hag
Like, I can't
out?
tell you what our style is. I'm not Ten Hag out, no, but I think he will be out. And this is one thing we always discuss it. There's always a pathway to the sack, and now it's very strong. The last time we lost before this game for Fulham was against Forest when Højlund didn't play, and it was the first game without Højlund. And now Højlund is not going to be available, and guess who we play? Forest. Same game, away from home. I cannot see us beating Forest in the FA Cup away from home because we did get absolutely peppered by them last time. Without Højlund, without that focal point. If we lose that game and then we have Man City with Lindelof playing left back, I think that could be genuinely a dangerous football match in terms of 4-0 would be good. And I would generally take 4-0 with open arms because 4-0 would mean not losing that 6-1, not getting another 7-0 like Liverpool. It could potentially be embarrassing. I think if those two daggers get thrown at us out of the FA Cup and pretty much out of Champions League and an embarrassment against City, that could be the sack for Ten Hag. I think the pressure would mount. And if not the sack, then it would basically be almost like confirmation. Like, you know how Tuchel is leaving at the end of the season like that? We might get something like that. Yeah, we might get something like... Yeah, and do you know what? That would be incredible because then it's all on the players. Just sort yourself out. Let's see how you play because the manager's leaving. You fucked him over. And so it will be an interesting one. The players, though, you kind of have to look at the players now. It's such a fine line. You look at my player ratings. I'm not giving 1 out of 10s. Losing to Fulham is unacceptable. There should be some 1 out of 10s, but there isn't because sometimes you have to think, what is the manager telling them to do? Do they know what they need to do? Bruno's been shocking in the last few games, and it's annoying because the 5 before that, he was brilliant. Rashford looks disinterested. That's not new. There's just players in our team which I don't understand. I mean, Anthony, the best
Anthony
thing
came on for like a minute, didn't he?
The best thing was Anthony, it was his birthday and he got 1 minute right at the end on his birthday. It's so funny. I actually enjoyed that. And one thing when your team scores and levels at 1-1 in the last minute, I was shouting at my screen when we scored that at Maguire because that guy, it wasn't a full celebration, but he went over to celebrate. First of all, we don't deserve that goal. Fulham dominated us. Secondly, we should be going for another goal. This guy was going over to... He wasted seconds. And I look at that, and Maguire's been good, but that pissed me off. And he was almost lucky to be on the pitch. The mentality in that team is shocking. Some of these players... I mean, the left-back thing is just a joke. Why is it that we're not recalling the one left-back we have? I think he's in Spain, Alvaro Fernandez. Why is it that we're settling with Lindelof, who's not even good enough to be the centre-back of Aston Villa or Sheffield United? He'd struggle, and he's starting a left-back for Man United. It's a bit of a shame.
Has
that it's
Malassi
come
been
to this.
seen? Have you seen his?
Has he been resurrected?
Has he been
Malacia is alive. They did mention the name Malacia. He's still a few weeks out. Mason Mount's a few weeks out. That's another shambles, the number 7. I mean,
Where
the
is
weeks
Mason
keep...
Mount? What happened to him?
They keep extending it.
alive.
They keep saying he's going to be back this international break, that international break. I don't know. I mean, I think just with Ten Hag, and this is going to be a shame, and this is the ultimate thing about Ten Hag. For Ten Hag to be successful, he needs his perfect team, and he needs certain profiles that have to always be playing. Now, to be a top-level manager, you can't do that. You can't be a top-level manager and expect that. No manager has the team. Look at Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp's missing half his squad. We'll get to that, and look what he produced. I mean, unfortunately, he's got to learn how to adapt, and Ten Hag maybe then, at that stage, this is the one thing that we as a fan base didn't know. And I actually had the tools. He had the perfect setup for what he wanted. And at United, he hasn't got that. And this is where he's fallen short. And unfortunately, we might have to move on to whatever Ineos want next. And that's where it went wrong. And I'll put my hands up and say I didn't see that coming. Like, genuinely, one thing I did not see Ten Hag failing at United. I was so sure he'd be successful. And this is where it's gone wrong. So we will see. We will see how it goes. I just don't... Because it's unrealistic. You can't expect your 11 players to be fit. As beautiful as it is to be watching a team do so well with 11 starters, it's never going to happen in the Prem. Arsenal are missing players. They're missing Partey. Chelsea missing players.
Somewhere.
Everyone's missing players. And if that's how you're going to rely on winning, unfortunately, it's not going to work. So Ten Hag could not potentially either be confirmed not to be a Man United manager the next time we record or be sacked, depending on this week coming ahead.
Just a couple of questions from me. Obviously, you touched on imagine the scenario of Ten Hag getting sacked at the end of the season, which you just said could be realistic when the takeover's all finalised, they're all settled in and whatever. Can you see or name a couple of players that you would think that would show themselves in a good enough light to be there come the 24-25 season, or would you say no one?
I'll tell you something for free. I think the moment that gets announced, Rashford will have an incredible season because what happens with some of these players is they suddenly realise their job's on the line and then they start playing. Right now, they're just relaxed. I mean, everything's chill. You're going to be
They're earning a cushy wage. They're going back to their like 6-bedroom house. Yeah, they're chilling.
Yeah, it does look a bit. But to be fair, on the counter, some people are saying that if these players generally down tools, Ten Hag would have been sacked a long time ago, and they are still trying. But it's obviously Rashford, I think, is completely exempt from that. He's he knows he's a franchise player and he doesn't need to play. Doesn't need to try that hard, and he only does it when. Because, by the way, guys, if you watch Rashford play, I don't know if I'm being blind. Rashford's got everything. I mean, when he runs with the ball, just his physique, everything about him. That guy can do anything with his body, with what his ability, and he doesn't do it. Like he generally doesn't try. It's like a tease.
I
Like
think it's.
you can be so good and you're not. You're physically so there, something that some players even struggle to get to, and he doesn't do
I
it.
think the thing is with Rashford, it's obviously as an England fan, probably El will agree. This summer we've got the Euros. We've got, as much as you won't like to admit it, we've got an all right chance of winning it. We're probably up there, the 2 or 3 favourites. A player like Rashford, who would probably be in the squad all starting if he's had a good season, and as you said, he's not putting in the effort. He's downed his tools.
But
But
he's going to be in it then. That's the thing. There's
that's
no
the thing.
concern. There's no
He'll
concern
go.
for Rashford.
He'll
Yeah.
go. But that's the frustrating thing of players whereof through injury, like a Maddison through injury, not playing, obviously not his fault, or players like Foden who aren't getting the game time, but you would put ahead of Rashford on, like they're going to
I
be
think
dropped.
Foden starts. I think.
It depends. It depends because Rashford also gets a lot of game time.
To be
No,
fair,
I
in my
think
opinion, I
Salah
think the
plays
front
well.
three at England, for England in this Euros, I think should be Saka on the right, Foden on the left, and Kane up top.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bellingham in the hole.
Yeah,
No, not in the
that's
hole.
exactly what I think it should be.
I
And
don't know.
Decker's
Maybe Rice and Bellingham in the pivot. Anyway, we'll discuss it later on. And the second question was, who would you get in? Obviously, providing Ten Hag gets sacked, or
Tuchel. It's
Tuchel, yeah.
I would have loved a long-term project manager, but I think just it's gonna have we need a winner, and it's gonna be a cycle of like come back and forth.
Mourinho.
No, not Mourinho. Mourinho
I'll
wouldn't say
take
no
it.
himself. I would love to get Michael Carrick or McKenna. I know I get pelters for saying that. The people saying Nagelsmann, a lot of people want Nagelsmann, by the way. A lot of fans are turning to that. He's the Germany manager. I'd rather someone who,
yeah.
I'd rather an agreement happen in like April and not waste another month, another transfer window, which we seem to do every year. There's an issue. Either the year Ten Hag came in later, or the Glazers leaving. Is that happening? Yes or no? There's always, we're never ready. You know how Man City have a player signed before the window even starts? We never do that. I want us to kind of have that. So if we're going to get someone, at least
Big.
have them settled in, so we can, work towards signing the players they
I was
want.
going to ask a question, Chavez. Let's say, for example, like the inevitable does happen and Ten Hag does get sacked. Would you rather a long-term manager and then sacrifice, let's say, the 24-25 season to kind of say, well, we're going to have to kind of get used to him at the moment, so we're going to have like basically put up with the fact that we're going to be 12th this season, but then the next season be like on it because everyone's obviously completely brand new to the team and morale's up. And would you
Yeah.
sacrifice that season?
I mean, what I'm saying is what I want, but what I think will happen, and I'm just going to keep repeating it. I think Graham Potter's going to come in. We'll see how that goes. I think one thing I could trust Graham Potter to do is at least implement a style of play. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know if he did that at Chelsea. Was he overcome by the job? Amir, did you see something like consistent across? That's all I want. I don't even care about winning. Just a consistent, like, this is how
He
Potter
needs
wants to
time,
play.
man. He does need time, and I think the Chelsea job, which we'll talk about, is just a shit show. It's a shit show of a club. So
He
Yeah.
came in at a weird time. I mean, there was too many new players that you can't even blame him for not
That's
having a
it.
style. I think Potter could do that, but again, this is so sad that I'm even at this stage
he's
where
also a bit of a pushover manager. I can tell he's not one of them ones where like he can say no to like the.
The hair dry
There
treatment.
are
That's
some
not happening.
managers that like they can.
I
be
think they like him. Like he'll get along well with these owners versus
probably,
the
yeah.
other ones. Yeah,
I
we'll
think
see.
I think that last but not least takes us to the big blue £1 billion bottle jobs.
Here he is.
Amir,
Before we
take it
start,
away.
I've never been distraught about losing a final as much as actually I lie. The England Euro final we lost. I think this was on par with that in terms
Champions
of.
League final, 2008.
To be honest, mate, that one was bad, but I think this one I can process more as an older football fan. I don't think many of us can
Okay.
remember that. But this one especially, I was absolutely gutted. We lost to kids, as everyone says. We did. I believe Jurgen Klopp had about 5 or 6 permission slips from parents before these players had to get on the coach. So that's the first thing. Number two, an absolute embarrassment of a game. We start off with the manager who, after the game, comes out extra and said in extra time we're playing for penalties against kids, which is absolutely embarrassing. The style of play wasn't there. The Route 1 football with Jackson against Canate and Big Veg, as they say. And what can we say? We got punished in extra time. Big Veg again. It's the more experienced players, the Endos, the Virgil van Dijks, the Kelleher, I guess, had a great game. The Louis Diaz's who
So-
end up carrying the kids to victory, and it's absolutely embarrassing for Chelsea. It's the most embarrassing defeat. I think that's 6 defeats in a row at Wembley now. So we've got a Wembley curse 100%. We've given Jurgen Klopp 3 out of his 6 trophies now as well.
Bloody hell.
All of which
Well,
are,
was it us or me you beat last in the FA Cup run? Or semi?
we beat you in the final one now. I think the Hazard penalty.
Hazard, De Gea, and
And you also got to look at some of the players. We've got to look at Enzo's performance, not passing it in that stupid back heel. We've got to look at Conor Gallagher, who I think the manager's fault for playing him in the 10 role, but he's also got to be finishing that one-on-one.
yeah.
A lot of errors. The corners, who's marking Van Dijk, because we got punished once, so we got very lucky that it was disallowed for offside, and they did it again. A lot of shit show, a lot of players underperforming. And the only players that can actually put their heads high is Petrovic and maybe Jackson, because I think he was okay. And maybe Caicedo, because Caicedo on the ball was shaky to begin with, but came into the game and was breaking play down.
I was
Other than
going to.
that, everyone else was absolutely woeful. But yeah,
Elliot's taken the
let's go. Raise
the
your
school
hand.
lesson again. He's
Let's
raised his
start
hand.
with cooking. Let's start with cooking.
Right.
Hot
Amir,
chat.
just a simple question, really. Is this a complete write-off now for the rest of the season until
Of course,
May?
what is there? He's not going to get
Well,
Europe.
you got Leeds. You got Leeds on the FA Cup.
I don't think we'll make another FA Cup. I don't think we'll make another final. I don't think Poch will have a better chance in his whole managerial career to win a trophy in England.
That's crazy. That was his chance, wasn't it? In
That
England.
was his chance against kids as well, 6 of which regions that I'd never heard of, and no fair play to them. They kept their own. The funniest thing was we call them kids, but our average age was still lower than theirs at
Yeah,
extra time.
I saw that.
I've seen
Very,
this as well.
very, very strange. But you've got to look at a lot of these players as well. I mean, Conor Gallagher missing them chances is disgusting. Cole Palmer, we can look at that missed chance, but even then, the centre backs, Malagusto was okay, I guess, but a lot of touches going out of play, just nerves on nerves. And you've got to look at the board with the signings we made. We buying players for the next 5 to 10 years, but the experienced players, as big Virgil van Dijk scoring late on, carried that team to victory. To be honest with you, I thought Klopp was taking the piss. To be honest, with all the kids that came on, just because he was pissed off at the Gravenberch.
Yeah, what happened to him in the end? Is
Well, he came off, and that would made it much easier for us when another regen came on, and that regen ended up playing very well. And then he started taking
is
them all
Gravenberch
off.
injured?
McAllister's, huh?
Is that Gravenberch back? Whatever his name is, injured.
It'll
got
probably
stretchered
be a
off,
few weeks.
It'll be a few weeks out, 100%. Definitely not a red card, a yellow card, but doesn't take away from the game, man. Absolutely terrible. At the end of the second half, we looked like we're going to score, and instead of pushing on in extra time, we go defensive and let them have all the ball. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And then even if we won, it would have papered over the cracks. The manager ain't got no style of play. He's a Tottenham bottle job. He's got to go now, man. By the end of the season, but he's got to be.
Who would
sacked.
you? Is there someone in football? It always comes down to: is there a good option available? I feel like if you lost the Leeds, they would sack him. If someone is available, I don't know. I don't think anyone's available. Maybe that's why.
Another Brighton member of staff coming into Chelsea. I mean, we can all get that potentially could. De Zerbi, I guess. De Zerbi, potentially. Obviously, we've got a few managers free. They're looking at that Sporting Lisbon manager again. They like, but we need experienced players. I said this in summer, and I say it now again. It's experienced players that will help them. Someone made a very good point. I don't know who it was on Twitter, but they said Henry won the World Cup at 20, and came into that Arsenal side with like Tony Adams and all that. Do you think him coming in there straight and being the main man, he would have been effective? No, not at 20 years old. But that's the same with Enzo, man.
Mr. Arsenal helped him.
Yeah, like the experienced players help the young players excel.
Yeah, you learn from them, teach from them. This way, they're freestyling on their own, and they got inept manager in charge who has no mentality to win, who wants to try and get to penalties, who thinks that's the best course of winning against kids. Half of them are doing mocks today, I think. Probably. Wouldn't be surprised. It's disgusting.
Good luck. Best of luck to them.
Did you hear though, Amir? Did you hear? There's they might be bringing in a thing where they might treat managers as the same as players, where you're only allowed to kind of get rid of them in the January transfer or in the summer.
Well, even then, if he's gone by summer, then he's got to salvage something. He ain't gonna make it into Europe unless we improve the way we play. The only thing we're praying for, and he's praying for, is a kick out the backside of the humiliation for the players, and they start playing and acting up through the experience. But even then, that will take a long time to get away from this, man, because this is going to be talked about for a long time.
You glad you bought Mudrick?
Huh? Not at the moment. No, I wouldn't be.
So random.
Is Enzo still did you still underpay
Yeah,
for
what
Enzo?
are some of the things you've come out with? You said Enzo, you double the
I
payment.
still back Enzo, man. I think there's quality player. If you can be fit around him, I think he can still be a quality. Same with Caicedo. But they're gonna Conor Gallagher in the 10 role when it should be another player who can score that. They're taking Jackson off when he's actually the one linking the play. We look worse without him. Chilwell at left back, he needs to go. It's a lot of people on the firing line. He needs to go.
Chilwell? All right.
Yeah, man.
He needs to go, blood. He needs to go.
Who are you going to get in left back?
Huh?
Oh, they've got a good left back on loan, right?
Cucurella, bro.
Cucurella.
Matterson's on loan at the moment, and we probably need to sell a lot of these homegrown players, so we wouldn't be surprised if them leave.
I feel like there's one manager that's always been, do you know, like Mourinho, low-key was always destined to be a Man United manager at some point. There's one manager that hasn't managed Man United and he's destined to be a Man United manager one day. Would you take Ten Hag at Chelsea if
I'd take anything, I'd take anything.
if we got Pochettino, for some reason
Daniel Brown till the end of the season if it means not watching Pochettino. I'd take anything.
I have a feeling Poch will manage us one day. I don't know if it'll be now.
Take him. Let's do a full deal now, man. I'll bring Ten Hag. I'll kiss his shiny bald head, bro. Let's do this.
So you would take, after all the abuse you give Ten Hag about sacking him, you take Ten Hag.
Now I'm there at the moment. I'm desperate. A lot of people saying Poch wasn't there for the five big chances we missed. We missed nearly the second. I think it's the record. I think it was 6 big chances missed in the final, and we got number 2. I think 5 big chances missed, and Liverpool missed 1 big chance. It's disgusting, man.
I was just going to say, I was going to ask you the same question as I asked Chavez. Let's say in the 24-25 season, you bring in like a long-term manager, and like in that next season, you come like 12th or 13th. Would you like suck it up, knowing that obviously he's a long-term manager and eventually it'll come back to your greatness again? No, you want an instant.
My DNA is winning trophies every 2 years. That's what we've been installing as Chelsea fans.
So you'd want like a short-term kind of quick fix.
Short term, we need to get back to that old Abramovich DNA, because the DNA that these owners are putting is completely stripped that. We are our thing was always we buy experienced players at their peak or up to their peak, and then winning, and then the manager gets sacked 2-3 years down the line, and we all accepted it because we kept on winning. At the moment, we aren't having any of that. It's all youth players that you can't expect anything at the moment. Half of these, man, you can't. Mudryk probably will turn out to be okay.
Maybe. Can you not argue that you just don't have the patience for a project? Because I feel like I say that all the time. Arsenal were in a worse position under Arteta.
But did Arteta not go out and win the FA Cup final? Did he ever lose like
True.
This?
Yeah, that's true.
Manager, did you see losing? Did Ten Hag lose the final against Newcastle? No.
But then, in a way, this might be a good thing, because I think if Poch won that league, Cup, then you're not sacking him.
Yeah, that's another thing I'm looking at. It could be papering over cracks as well. But
I can tell you about more embarrassing final defeat.
Yeah, but he's expected from you. No, it's absolutely no. This is the worst, most embarrassing thing. Like
the whole 10-minute segment of Amir just hating
Chelsea Football Club. It's disgusting. Like you guys can't even cook because you're so like sad about it.
Right.
If you,
I was gonna say, well, we should go on, Chris, quick.
One question, if you had to pick one manager, dead or alive, anyone in history that you could just bring in tomorrow, who would it be to fix this for Chelsea?
05, 06 Mourinho, whatever.
Oh, I knew it. Yeah,
it's huge.
Like I said last week, he's going to resurrect Mourinho. He's going to get him back in the hot seat at Stamford Bridge. But until next week, sorry. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.